Hi guys. First of all, I want to apologize for not finishing the Halloween series, the horror series from last year. A lot of stuff happened and I wasn't able to finish it. So I want to try to finish day 12 to Halloween, the 31st, which is today. So I'm going to try to recommend a bunch of NoSleep podcast episodes and Tales from the Darkside episodes, and also a lot of horror movies, and then add in some extra stuff. Before I forget to mention, I noticed that last year on October 6th, I recommended the NoSleep podcast episode Season 9, Episode 6 twice. So for October 6th, I wanted to change the episode from Season 9, Episode 6 to Season 9, Episode 16. So I already, for that video of October 6th, I already changed in the description to Season 9, Episode 16. So I just wanted to put that out there just in case. And another thing I want to mention is for the episodes from Tales from the Darkside, the ones that I'm going to recommend, I put a description of the episode that I got from IMDb, so that way I wouldn't spoil anything or wouldn't say too much about the episodes. So in the description of this video, I put a description of the episode, so that way you guys know what the episode is about. Alright, so for October 12th, I am going to recommend the NoSleep Podcast Season 11, Episode 8. And for the Tales from the Darkside, I've chosen the episode Season 4, Episode 14. And that episode is called the Cutty Black Sow, if I'm saying that correctly. And the description for that episode is in the description box of this video. The movie that I've chosen to recommend for October 12th is called Dead End. And I've never heard of that movie before my cousin Cindy and Nino showed me that movie. I believe they showed me that movie about 2 or 3 years ago. And that movie is totally underrated. I mean, a lot of more people should be talking about it, and the ending to that movie is just insane. For October 13th, I want to recommend the NoSleep Podcast Season 8, Episode 13. And for the Tales from the Crypt, I want to recommend Season 1, Episode 17, called The Madness Room. And the movie that I've chosen to recommend for October 13th is Farmhouse. And that movie is also underrated. And for Farmhouse, I remember when I was a little girl, I was at a party, and they were watching a movie in the living room, and I remember the ending was so disgusting, and it was like someone was torturing somebody else, and the way that they tortured them was just, it was like, it's so messed up. But I've never gotten a chance to know the name of that film until Cindy showed me this movie, and I'm like, wait a minute, the ending, when the ending was starting to come, it started to hit me that I've seen this movie before, but Cindy didn't tell me what was going to happen at the end. And I kept saying, man, this and this is going to happen. I remember seeing this, and Cindy wouldn't tell me anything. Alrighty, so for October 14th, I want to recommend the NoSleep Podcast Season 9, Episode 10. And the Tales from the Darkside episode that I've chosen is Season 2, Episode 20, and it's called A Choice of Dreams. And the movie that I wanted to recommend for October 14th is You're Next. And I remember seeing that in the movie theaters with Cindy and Nino. And there's this one death scene that just traumatized me for a while. I'm not going to say for life, but for a while it really like messed me up, because it was just so unexpected, and I've never seen that type of death scene in a horror movie before, or any type of movie. And I don't know. Okay, so a little spoiler, the death scene that I'm talking about is when a girl was trying to run, and there was like a wire, and the wire hit her right in the throat. That's a death scene that I'm talking about. That scene right there, I remember going like that in the movie theaters, because I was just so scared. Like, it was just so unexpected. For October 15th, I wanted to recommend the NoSleep Podcast episode Season 10, Episode 16. And the Tales from the Darkside episode that I wanted to recommend is Season 3, Episode 19, which is called The Social Climber. For October 15th, I wanted to recommend the movies Wrong Turn 1 and Wrong Turn 2 Dead End. And this is going to sound very messed up, but when I was a little girl, I was obsessed with the movie Wrong Turn 2 Dead End. And at the time, I didn't know who Henry Rollins was. So when I was a little girl, I thought, man, he's so awesome, he's so cool. And then as I got older, I've always thought he was an actor, just an actor. And then as I got older, I saw him on RuPaul's Drag Race. And I'm like, oh man, I know that guy. And then I did some more research on him, and then I found out that he was in a rock band. And I'm like, oh my god. So then I started hearing more of his music, and I was just, it was awesome. I wasn't expecting him to be like a rock star or metal star, whatever you want to call it. For October 16th, I've chosen Season 11, Episode 11 for the NoSleep podcast. And for Tales from the Darkside, I've chosen Season 4, Episode 15, which is called Do Not Open This Box. For October 16th, I've chosen the movie The Descent. And I believe that this movie is a bit underrated because I don't see a lot of people talking about it or just reviewing it on YouTube. Maybe I'm not looking well, but for me, I feel like this movie is a bit underrated. Okay, so for October 17th, for the NoSleep podcast, I wanted to recommend the episode Season 8, Episode 14. And for the Tales from the Darkside, I wanted to recommend Season 1, Episode 21. 21. And that episode is called Bigelow's Last Smoke, if I'm saying that correctly. And the movie that I wanted to recommend for October 17th is The Strangers, which that movie came out in 2008, I believe. And that movie has Dennis from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which I think is awesome. And it also has Liv Taylor. I'm sorry if I'm not saying her name correctly. But that movie was crazy when I was a little girl and I saw it. For October 18th, I wanted to recommend the NoSleep podcast episode Season 9, Episode 14. And for the Tales from the Darkside episode, I wanted to recommend Season 2, Episode 19, which is called The Last Car. And the movie that I've chosen for October 18th is The Loved Ones, which came out in 2009. And I remember seeing that movie at night because I didn't know what else to do or watch. So then I remember I was watching that movie and it was just brutal. I mean, there was this one scene that I'm not gonna say who it was or who was doing it, but there was this one scene where somebody was putting like a screwdriver trying to put the screwdriver right through the forehead. Oh man, I remember just looking at that and wanting to look away, but I also wanted to see what happened, like looking through the fingers. So that movie was pretty crazy. For October 19th, I wanted to recommend the episode Season 10, Episode 17 of the NoSleep podcast. And for Tales from the Darkside, I wanted to recommend Season 3, Episode 12. And I remember with this episode, I forgot to say the title. It's Miss Medusa. And I remember with this episode, the ending was so messed up. It broke my heart. Like, it got your heart pumping because for me, I wanted to see what would happen next, or what I couldn't think what was gonna happen next. But the ending broke my heart. I'm not gonna lie. That ending was messed up. And for October 19th, I've chosen the movie Idle Hands, and I remember showing this movie to Serenity, my cousin, in this summer. And oh man, this movie's freaking awesome. I remember my cousin Cindy showed me that movie, so I think it was me, Cindy, and Nino who watched it one night. And I fell in love with this movie. It's so freaking awesome. It has Seth Green, and he's just freaking hilarious in that movie. So for October 20th, I wanted to recommend the episode Season 11, Episode 12 of the NoSleep podcast. And for the Tales from the Darkside, I wanted to recommend Season 4, Episode 13, which is called The Apprentice. And the movie that I wanted to recommend for October 20th is Urban Legends. It came out in 1998, and it has Jared Leto, or in one trailer they pronounce it Jared Leto, so I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but he's in it. And oh man, after I saw him in that movie, I became obsessed. And then I figured out that he was in a band called 30 Seconds to Mars, so I became obsessed with them. And then But anyway, back to the movie. That movie, well, for me, it was awesome because it talked about urban legends. And for me, the ending was a big plot twist to me when I was a little girl. So yeah, and I think that movie is also underrated. In my opinion, I'm not sure how other people feel, but I feel like it's underrated. Alrighty, so for October 21st, I wanted to recommend the episode Season 8, Episode 16 of the NoSleep podcast. And for the Tales from the Darkside, I wanted to recommend Season 1, Episode 9, which is called A Case of the Stubborns. I remember that episode was really good. And for the movie I've chosen for October 21st is Hereditary. Oh my god, this movie, I saw it like last month or a couple weeks ago with my cousin Lola and my uncle Bobby. This movie, I'm not sure what I thought this movie was good. I knew kind of what it was going to be about, but the things that happened in this movie traumatized me for weeks. Like, I usually don't do this, but I love sleeping in complete darkness. But after I saw that movie, I had to sleep with the, I don't know how, well, I call it the light, but I guess other people would call it like a mini light, I don't know. But I had to sleep with that on, because that movie freaked me out so bad. And oh man, that movie is just so messed up. If you like messed up movies and you want to get scared, you should see that movie. And when I was looking for a trailer for that movie, I was looking through the comments. And this one comment said, oh, if you have constipation, just watch this movie because you'll crap yourself. And it's true, that movie is freaking scary. I promise you, that movie is, oh man. If it scared me, I don't know what it's going to do to you guys because that movie was very scary. So for October 22nd, I wanted to recommend the episode Season 9, Episode 18. And for the Tales from the Darkside, I wanted to recommend Season 2, Episode 17, which is called The Shrine. Okay, so the movie that I wanted to recommend for October 22nd is It, the remake, the one that came out in 2017. That movie, I remember I saw it in the movie theaters with my cousin Cindy and Nino, and that movie made me scream. Oh man, there's this one part that like really freaked me out.